And we're back. We will be beginning Chapter 2 here of Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus.
It had been a while since I'd been back in the U.S. Next up, the notorious Muggshot.
Doesn't seem like Sly spends that much time in the U.S. now that I think about it.
He definitely made up for it in brawn. Turns out he wasn't always that way. He grew up as the run of the litter. A neighborhood weakling. The only friends he could turn to were usually found on the big screen. It was there that he spotted his first gangster, and he knew instantly that that's what he wanted to be. He spent the rest of his youth working real hard.
Love
to
the
get
pimples
there,
on him
fueled on
when
his
he's a
dreams of great
teenager.
Power and respect. With enough perspiration, he realized that dream. He'd become a hard-boiled, street-brawling, tough-as-nails gangster, ensuring that he'd never be kicked on or pushed around again.
Love how he's still doing this in his childhood room with guns. But yeah, I'm trying to think of all the times that he's been in the U.S. and
So he's holed up in Mesa
I think it
City,
might just be this
always
one
wanted to
chapter
thrive in
here.
American boomtown.
Apart from the Wild West in Sly 4, but who even counts Sly 4? So it was always strange to me that this chapter takes place in Utah. I mean, it's like in Monument Valley, you know, it's southern Utah, but like Utah has very strict gambling laws. There's no way they could get away with this.
Hey, Sly, I thought you said Mesa City was going to be loud and busy. This looks more like a ghost town.
Something's happened. Where is everyone?
I don't know, but it's starting to give me the creeps. What do you say we take off?
And miss all the fun? Besides, I want to try out that new move I got from Raleigh's section of the Thievius Raccoonus.
You mean the ninja spire jump?
Yeah, do me a favor and read me the instructions again.
To land safely upon
I think it took me a while when I first played this game to actually clear the first chapter because of the twin stick level in the last chapter. So when I finally reached chapter 2 and I got a new move and it was the ninja spire landing, it felt really like big and cool. Like I could hardly believe it. It was, you know, this was a pretty formative game for me. I'd played things like yeah, I had a PS1, but it was I don't think I had anything too much like Sly there. I didn't have Crash or Spyro or anything, so I would say that Sly was very impactful to developing my taste in video games. So yeah, there's Utah has very strict gambling laws, and so we typically get advertisements for places on like the Nevada-Utah border. Definitely Wendover, you know, like Wendover is where you go if you want to gamble and also get illegal fireworks that are illegal in Utah at least, although I think the laws on those have relaxed in recent years. We also get some mesquite ads. That's more south, but still. Now that I think about it, the only other time I can think of where a video game is explicitly set in Utah would be Last of Us. I believe at one point they're walking through and you can see the Salt Lake Temple and all the ruin and overgrowth, so... I've never played Last of Us, not terribly interested, but it is interesting that my home state, which is typically overlooked, has been in video games a couple of times. You know, it's not like California or New York, but you know, it's happened. Maybe there's been a couple of like Western games, although I don't think there's too many of those that are set in Utah, because I know that a lot of old Westerns were filmed in Utah. I'm not sure how many of them are set in Utah, but it's possible that that could be a source of some more games set in Utah. Okay, these dogs are bullcrap. I'm not sure how to... I swear, those two right there, I always get hit at least once. I don't know what it is. They can be deceptively hard to avoid. These right here are easy bottles to miss. So I think this is one of the few levels where you have to do some major backtracking after you get all the bottles. Like the vault back there is almost, it's not quite in the halfway point, but it's a ways back, and you don't get all of the bottles until right near the end. So, again, I feel like a lot of this stuff is like early game design. Like this is still, you know, second chapter, but still feels a little bit like they're figuring some things out, and later levels, like in chapters 3 and 4, tend to be a little more standardized. You can tell that they had found their groove by then. So yeah, right here, just cutting straight over to when I backtrack back to the vault.
Press the circle to enter the vault code. A little bit of higher mathematics and voila! Dial in 314.
Now let's see what is in this vault.
Outstanding! You've uncovered Rob McCooper's patented explosive hat technique.
Ah, yes, one of several abilities in this game that I never, ever use. It's not terribly useful. I'm not sure what they were thinking with a lot of these abilities. Like, sure, I guess you could leave a mine, but that's only useful in very specific circumstances where you have enemies like milling about, which doesn't really happen in this game. And check out this effect. Incredible. There were better explosions on the N64, so it's not very useful and it's not very cool. So yeah, that is the last time I ever used that ability. This is another cool area. I really like this this whole area and its aesthetic, and you know, you've got the set piece up there of the big Muggshot neon sign.
Given that he's a bulldog, it seems only reasonable to assume that he'd choose to live in a giant fire hydrant.
That's some sound logic, Sly. Now you just
Stereotyping.
need to find a way to break into the building's base.
Oh, I'm sure I'll think of something.
So, with the enemies in the last chapter, I think that they were all like sea creatures. Or wait, no, there were... No, I mentioned this. They were beavers, which is weird. Or maybe I mentioned, I don't remember. Oh, let's listen to Muggshot for a minute. There might be one cop coming in, so kill everyone. But, you know, that does foreshadow Carmelita popping up again, which is nice. But going back, I think I actually think I didn't mention this. It's kind of strange to me that the enemies in Raleigh's section were mostly beavers. I guess because they're working on stuff. But like frog, pirates, weather control, I'm not sure that I really get the connection there. But they're, at least the flashlight guards are like squids, so we have like a sea theme going on. But then with Muggshot, things are pretty consistent. We've got dogs. And these guys definitely have the gangster vibe. Now, right there, these guys are not making a noise when I take them down, and I'm not sure why, and I think it might just be these guys specifically, because, like, every other time, as soon as you hit an enemy, the whistle goes off, and they alert nearby enemies, which is, like, never. This game feels like it was trying to do, I don't know. It's the whole thief angle, and you know we're sneaking around, but it doesn't really have much in the way of like stealth mechanics. So it feels like a just a pretty standard platformer with the idea of a thief as kind of window dressing, but they don't actually embrace that until Sly 2. Right here we get a little bit of you know, oh, I got hit. Right here we get a little bit of the shimmying across the walls of something that's moving, and, you know, it's, you gotta wait for it to get to the other side, and you can see the sparkles overlap. And just as a programmer, I can imagine, you know, the guys making this engine probably almost from scratch, that probably was a little difficult to get right. I don't know. When I see stuff like that in video games, I'm just thinking, you know, the engineers, the developers were probably had some troubles with these. You know, I like to know some of the ups and downs of making those sorts of interactions in games. So definitely to their credit, they did want this, particularly this level, to feel like a casino. So you get a lot of coins. You know, you break these slot machines. They drop quite a few for this stage in the game, you know, compared to what you typically got from broken objects in Raleigh's. It feels like you're getting a lot here. The amount of clue bottles is also pretty high. 40 is... that might be the most that any single level has, is 40. Oh, and right here, always remember that you can break his tiny legs to get a lot of coins. I think they did really good with the enemy, like, aesthetics in this game. Like, they, for how little they matter, they have a lot of personality, you know? The gambler dog, just sort of chilling and playing with his cards, and then he jumps up. They're very memorable. So this is a particular security measure that I don't think really comes up again, is these floors, but they aren't like the other floors that like shift, then they're on the roulette. So, you know, just sort of an interesting thing to set this level apart. So this casino has been flooded, and the water is electrified, and I'm just wondering, like, what's the story here? Why is presumably the most profitable part of Muggshot's entire operation in complete ruin here. And I also have to wonder about it from an out-of-universe perspective, like, you know, what was the inspiration to make the casino, like the main level of their casino-themed area like this? It's very interesting.
Okay, this page is from your hyperactive ancestor B.F. Cooper. He discovered a way to speed up the clock. Perfect for those long stakeouts.
We had one ability to slow down the like frame pacing or whatever. Let's get one that speeds it up. I'm not sure I ever use it. That's one that's probably useful. I can imagine that that speed up one is invaluable for speed runs, but on the other hand, maybe the time needed in order to acquire it isn't worth it. It'd be interesting to see how that factors into speedruns, though. These I like these jailbird dogs with the orange prison outfit swinging around the ball and chain. I think that they've got some character to them. And we move on to one of my least favorite mission types in this game. I'm not the hugest fan of the races. I don't remember who that is on the hot dog sign, but that's either a developer or like a Sony executive.
Drive the van with the left analog stick, and if you manage to pick up any nitro power-ups, you can get a boost by pressing.
Maybe like a producer. I don't remember though. I know that they like show up in the credits in the hot dog thing. So right here, I forgot how to drive the car. It had been a while. And I also wasn't paying attention when Sly explained the controls. So, yeah, that basically doomed this first attempt. Because it's so bizarre, this level. Like, sometimes, even without, you know, me messing up or forgetting with the controls, it feels like you can do everything exactly right and you still get nowhere close, and then you fail a couple of times and you smoke everybody. And I'm wondering if they installed some sort of mercy mechanic into this to where if you get to, like, you know, your fourth try in a row, they just suddenly make all of the other cars way slower. Because that's what it feels like. Oh, I'd never noticed. I'm Miss Ruby's Potions, that billboard on the side. I'm always so focused on the race that I usually miss the little details as I'm going around. Alright, so we've almost reached 4th place as we enter the final lap. This is not good pace to complete this minigame. I wonder what inspired them to make this minigame a thing. I guess, A, to give Murray something to do, given what they had for Murray as a character at this point, which was not much. But maybe it was also because, like, was Mario Kart really popular around this time? Or something else, like Crash Team Racing, was that where this kind of came from? I don't know. Alright, let's just skip over to the successful attempt. But yeah, the kind of the secret to this one is to grab all those nitros, and then when you turn, you use the boost to boost through the turn so that you don't have quite so much lost momentum. Because you can't really drift in this mini game. That's way too advanced for how simple this is. Alright, straight from one Murray-centric side gimmick minigame mission into another one. Let's figure out the Murray's Big Gamble. Turret section, yay.
Murray is in position to make a run for this key.
Okay, so what do I do?
Provide some covering fire for him with that blasting station.
Sweet.
Use the left analog stick to aim and press the square button to fire.
I'll do my best.
What is this turret just doing here out of nowhere?
I'm going in, Sly.
So, this is another thing that marks out this game as being a relic from the early PS2 era. The only option for aiming the turret is with the left stick, and you can see that my cursor is going all over the place a little bit. There's a tip for you right there. Take out those explosive barrels ahead of time. Anyway, these days, developers realize that the only reasonable thing to do is to have players control an aiming reticle with the right stick, because I guess this might be a consequence of this being like pre-Halo, console shooters being a big thing, because it is hardwired into like the language of of controls of video games that the left stick moves and right stick controls the camera. Or some of these early-ish 3D games were like, well, if you're not actually moving, then we can have the left stick be for controlling the reticle. The idea was that, you know, the left stick is the main one. If you can use it, you should, in favor of the right stick, even if, you know, it's something that the right stick would normally do. Now we're like, no. So the problem is that I very much want to use regular, what we would consider standard controls here, where up moves the reticle up and all that stuff, you know, normal controls. But and if that was on the right stick, then that would feel perfectly natural. But since I'm controlling it with the left stick, the only time you really use the left stick in modern games to control any sort of like aiming is in a flight sim, where your where your ship is pointing, where your plane is pointing, is where your shots are going to land. And in those ones, it's very natural to have inverted controls, where, you know, you push up and the plane pitches down. And so you have this weird contradiction where your left thumb wants to move the reticles up and down using inverted, but it's not a plane, so there's no good answer. But anyways, I'll stop rambling about that, and I will see you next time.